Hi, welcome to Unit 4, Day 9. This is Part 1, Picking Your Structure and More for your Unit 4 final project. So your Unit 4 final project is called Meet My Molecule, and the purpose of that project is for you to have a chance to explore a molecule found in an everyday substance, and then use your knowledge from this unit to predict its properties, and to explain how one of these properties make it useful. And that last part is specifically for Honors Chem. Now you can submit this information in the tables presented in the document as shown here on the right, or you can do your own presentation slides or create a poster. This counts as much as a test or a project grade, so your performance here will be important. Okay, so let's go through what we're going to talk about. In part 1 of Day 9, we're going to focus on the blue section of your Meet Your Molecule. And that includes picking a molecule, reporting the chemical name, reporting the chemical formula, and reporting the structural formula, and making sure we link the URL of the online source that we use. So this is what we'll be focusing on. So let's get started with picking a molecule from a common substance. So when I say a common substance, I'm thinking of things like fragrances or medicines, ingredients in food, spices, things that you use in home repair, cosmetics, garden agricultural products, cleaning supplies and products, and personal grooming products. They all have chemicals in them that are important to their function. So the first thing you want to do is thinking about where do you want to focus? Do you want to focus on food? Do you want to focus on fragrance, etc.? And once you figure out what it is that you want to focus on, like a specific food or fragrance or substance, whatever, then you want to first see if you can look at the ingredients list on the container, if that's handy. So this first one is the ingredients list at the bottom here of a cereal box. This is on the back of a shampoo bottle. And then here, if you have the drug information, it'll have the ingredients here at the top. So let's say you know what everyday product you're going to use. Let's say it's cereal. Now you need to make sure you pick the right substance. So what are the requirements? First of all, it has to be a pure substance, not a mixture. And it has to be a compound made up of more than one type of atom and not an element, which is only made up of one type. And it's helpful if you look for something that with the quote unquote chemically sounding name that will sort of help you avoid things like mixtures or elements. So let's talk about things that we can't use on the cereal box, for example. So whole grain wheat, rice flour, canola oil, and cinnamon, those are all examples of mixtures. So spices and all those sort of ingredients are oftentimes have mixtures. Now a spice like cinnamon, even though it is a mixture, there are chemicals in cinnamon that give it its smell. For example, cinnamaldehyde is a chemical. So you would have to do a little bit more research. If you're interested in doing cinnamon, you have to research chemicals in cinnamon, right? Now, the other things in a cereal box that we can't use are these things here, phosphorus, magnesium, and zinc, because those are all examples of elements. I know they're elements because you can find them directly on the periodic table. So it has to have, remember, more than one type of atom. So things we can use are these vitamins here and folic acid. Those are all pure substances and they're compounds. You can also choose things like fructose, maltodextrin, dextrose, trisodium phosphate. These are all things that you can use. Now, things that you can't use here are like salt, like table salt, which is right here, and then sugar. And also vinegar and baking soda was all listed on your handout. And the reason why we can't use these is because we've studied these already. So these simple things we can't use. Now, what if you don't have an ingredients list? How do you figure out what your everyday product is made of? Like, let's say you're doing something like makeup and you want to know, oh, MAC eyeshadow, like what's in MAC eyeshadow? So you want to do an online search in that case, and you can do ingredients in MAC eyeshadow, or what is MAC eyeshadow made of. The other thing is, if you are doing makeup, there are some apps that you may be familiar with, like Think Dirty or Good Guide, that are useful. So if you're into using apps, these apps can help you find the ingredients in makeup products. All right, so key reminders, make sure when you're picking a molecule, after you pick the substance, the everyday substance that you want to focus on, whether it's a cereal that you like or it's a gardening chemical that you use often, you want to look at the ingredients on the container, and that's listed on the side or back of the container. If you can't find that there, you do an online search or you can use an app. And you're going to pick one chemical on that list. Now, there are some things that you can't use, like you can't use mixtures, you can't use elements, or the substances that are listed here. All right, step 2. Now you're going to report the chemical name. So chemicals often have common names and official or standard names. So I'll use those interchangeably, official or standard. They're pretty much the same thing. So for example, vitamin B6 is a common name, but it's also known as pyridoxine. That's its standard or official name. Another standard official name it has is 4,5-bis hydroxymethyl 2-methylpyridine 3-ol. Those are also official names as well. Now, common names are the names that we're most familiar with. So most people have heard of vitamin B6, but they've not heard of pyridoxine. So that's how you know vitamin B6 is the common name. If both names are given, you must report them both. And when doing that, you are going to write the official name goes in parentheses. So we would write the common name and then the official name in parentheses. Okay, so finding the official name from the common name. So that's simple. To do that, if you didn't know, like, oh, vitamin B6, does it have an official name or standard name? What you would do is you just do a Google search. So if I just typed in vitamin B6, just type the name into the search, I would see these are things that came up on my computer, right? And you see it right there, vitamin B6 pyridoxine. Here's the common name, here's the standard name. I also went to the Mayo Clinic. I clicked on that link and I explored that, and it also is written here as well. So they give you both names, and it's helpful to have both names. Now, just a quick note for if you're doing something with medicine or pharmaceuticals, the Nutrition and Mayo Clinic is a really good source for finding out information. Okay, so we would just go ahead and in our document, once we have our common and standard name, report that in document. Common name on the outside, standard name or official name in parentheses. Now, what if you chose something like thiamine? Now, thiamine is written on the side of the cereal box, but many of us haven't heard of thiamine. So maybe that is the standard official name. So we would type that in, thiamine, and to our Google search, and lo and behold, it's also known as vitamin B1. So many people may have heard of vitamin B1. And in this case, the standard name is written outside the parentheses and common name inside. So you'll have to switch that on your document. Now, the reason why I know vitamin B1 is the common name because that's the one most people probably are familiar with. Now, the IU-PAC name, that's another example of a standard name, this complicated name right here. You don't need to write that as a standard name. So for thiamine, I would report vitamin B1 and thiamine. That's how I report in my document. Okay, so just some final notes. Common names are the ones most people can recognize, and it's not necessarily the one on the ingredients list. And sometimes there is no common name, so sometimes it's just a standard name. If that's the case, just report the standard name only. Okay, let's go into chemical formula. So if we want to search for the chemical formula of something, we would just search chemical formula and then write the chemical name there in Google. So I'll do the chemical formula of vitamin B6. And here are the results that I got. This gives me the chemical formula. It's right here. Remember, the chemical formula tells you the type and the number of atoms in a molecule. All right, so what I would do is I would just type this into my document. Now notice how I can't get those small, like when I first wrote this, I didn't write this with the small numbers, the subscripts, like the 8 is a big number and it should be a smaller number. So to get the subscripts, what we're going to do is you're going to highlight the text and then holding down for, if you have a PC, Control and comma. For a Mac, it will be Command and comma. So you would highlight that text, and I'll just show you that real quickly right here. So I highlighted it, and then I'm holding down Control and comma, and it makes it into a subscript. So when I do that for all of them, I get this, okay? All right. So now we're going to go into the structural formula and the image source. So in order to get the structural formula, you need to go to Google Images. So click on Google Images in the upper right on your Google home, your Google page, and then you're going to type in the chemical name, not the chemical formula, but the chemical name. So the structural formula of whatever name you got. Now, the reason why we can't use the chemical formula is because two different molecules can have the same chemical formula, right? Like C2H4O2 applies to acetic acid and methyl formate, but they're different molecules. So if you searched up the chemical formula C2H4O2, you would get both structures and you'd have to figure out which one to use. So when I do that for pyridoxine, these are my search results. We'll right click on I find the correct image and I'm going to right click on it. And I'll discuss more about what this means in the troubleshooting video. So I'll right click on the image and then I'll scroll down to where it says copy image and then go back to my document and paste it into the structural formula box. So I'll right click on that image and then where it says, scroll down to where it says copy image, click on that. And then I can just paste it into the structural formula box. Now, the next thing we have to do is make sure we copy the image source. So to do that, you want to first click on the link under the image that you want. So for pyridoxine, there was a Wikipedia link, and Wikipedia is actually pretty good for the structural formulas. This link should open into a new window, and then you can just copy and paste the URL at the top. So I would click on that link underneath the image in my Google image search, and then I would copy the URL at the top. And then by doing Control C, so I highlight all of it and then do Control C, and then I would do Control V and paste it underneath my structural formula. So that's how you fill out the blue section. So the next video that comes with this, we'll talk about some troubleshooting things. All right, have a quality day.